The coup has gotten worse, believe it or not. We had Nancy Pelosi this week announce that she would authorize or direct the committee chairman, Jerry Nadler, the head of the House Judiciary Committee, to write articles of impeachment targeting President Trump. Of course, we don't know what those articles of impeachment are because the House Democrats are making it up as they go along. You had the outrageous testimony of their so-called experts this week before the Judiciary Committee. It seemed their only qualifications were they were far to the left, they were activist liberals who had worked for or supported Democratic politicians, and they hated Donald Trump. And they gave their opinions as to what impeachment means. They mischaracterized the facts of the Ukraine scandal. And the most notable thing that happened at the hearing is that Miss Carlin, Professor Carlin, who is a donor to Elizabeth Warren, had worked in the Obama administration in its corrupted Civil Rights Division in the Justice Department, and believe it or not, was on the short list for Supreme Court for Democratic presidents. She went out of her way to attack the president's young son by making fun of his name and, of course, his father. Of course, she apologized for it later, but the apology was really not an apology. So this is what the Democratic case against the president has come down to. Left-wing academics making up allegations against him and suggesting that he should be impeached for things he didn't do, and their hatred, of course, for him guiding the effort to undo our republic. And so what a terrible abuse of tax dollars that hearing was. But on top of that, you had, to make things even worse, Adam Schiff get caught in another scandal. He issued his so-called impeachment report to the Judiciary Committee, and it was 300 pages of nothing. Of course, they didn't have any evidence of misconduct by the president, so there was nothing they could present. It was just a gussy up written word version of the Gossip Girl hearings that provided no information about any misconduct by the President of the United States. But it confirmed the misconduct by Adam Schiff, because in the report and subsequent reporting, it's proven Adam Schiff secretly obtained the phone records of Rudy Giuliani, and then he published them. And in publishing them, he brought out, and I guess there was someone else, this Ukraine American who has been targeted by the Justice Department and the Adam Schiff team as being terrible people because they helped Rudy Giuliani uncover corruption in Ukraine. So they took those phone records secretly and then published Rudy Giuliani's communications or details of his phone calls, who he was calling and where, and included Devin Nunes and John Solomon, a reporter. Devin Nunes, the head of the Intelligence Committee. So not only did he victimize Giuliani, he victimized John Solomon, he victimized the President of the United States, because Rudy Giuliani represents the President, and he also victimized Devin Nunes, a member of the House. He also victimized Jay Sekulow, the president's other lawyer, because his phone communication with Giuliani was divulged. So in abusing President Trump with this impeachment, he managed to add more abuse to the president's civil rights and to the civil rights of the Americans whose privacy they violated, whose rights he violated. Now, of course, the left will say, oh, well, you know, he's allowed to issue subpoenas. Well, that, of course, is technically true, but he's not allowed to abuse his authority to issue subpoenas to target innocent Americans or just Americans willy-nilly. He runs the Intelligence Committee. He has oversight over the intelligence agencies, the intelligence community. Members of Congress and committees of Congress are not authorized under our Constitution or the law to target Americans for investigation in this fashion. And certainly when they start targeting the phone records of a lawyer, specifically the lawyer for the President of the United States, of course that's abusive. Just because it's a subpoena, it doesn't make it A, legal or right. And it doesn't mean that he can't be held accountable to the subsequent damage. Victoria Tenzing is caught up in this as well. She's a lawyer who's on the other side of the deep state machine, Democratic machine that's trying to take out President Trump. Victoria Tenzing is married to Joe Geneva. And their names are smeared and used in these reports and are smeared as a result of being put into this report simply because their phone records were caught up in the dragnet that Schiff authorized. The story is, and I found out about this directly by talking to some folks, he told the Republicans on the committee, well, I've got these 5 numbers. I want to do a subpoena on it. The Republicans can't say boo about it because the rules are, they're secrecy rules, and plus the Democrats can issue the subpoena on their own because they're the majority. That's the way it's set up. And it was a backdoor way of getting into the president's attorney-client relationship with Rudy Giuliani. Because who Rudy Giuliani, and this is my analysis of it, I'm not a lawyer, but I've got a little bit of a knowledge of what attorney-client privileges means. Who your attorneys are calling during their representation of you, of course implicates attorney-client relationship and work product of the attorney on behalf of the client. In the least, you ought to be able to say, hold on a second. I want to make sure my rights are being protected here. And of course, that's not what Adam Schiff cares about. And this is par for the course for Schiff. Remember, he colluded with the CIA operative on the classified communication that the president had with the president of Ukraine, leaked that, lied about that. He lied repeatedly about the president and Russia. I mean, it's just complete lies. He brought in Michael Cohen, the president's lawyer, and rolled over the president's attorney-client relationship there by getting Cohen to testify about private communications with his client. He's denied the president every due process right available under law in this impeachment facade, in this impeachment charade, this coup. So it's no surprise he would abuse his power to go and steal. And now I'm using that word quite directly. Steal. I don't care if it was a subpoena, but because it was dishonestly and corruptly done, it's the equivalent of stealing someone's phone records. Spying on his colleague Devin Nunes by publishing his phone communications with Rudy Giuliani and others. Same on a journalist targeting John Solomon, an independent journalist who has been called the inconvenient journalist because he's done reporting on the Ukraine corruption that the left and the media don't want you to know about, and which is held up under scrutiny. I tell you what, to the degree this impeachment is serious, and of course I don't believe it is, but let's pretend it is. It needs to be frozen until the misconduct that's right before our very eyes by Adam Schiff in purloining the phone records of the president's lawyer is fully explored and understood. How did he get those numbers? How did he know to go to AT&T? How far out did this spy operation go? Were there other Americans he has the phone numbers of? Does he have my phone number? Does he have the phone numbers of other House members or other critics of Adam Schiff and the Obama and Clinton gangs? This is why I keep on saying the Senate should not hold a trial, assuming impeachment goes out. Because the process has been corruptly formed and is corruptly pursued. This is prosecutorial misconduct. They are going to impeach the president without allowing him to call one witness or question one witness. And you know they have no case, because if they thought they had a case, they'd have no problem following the rules. But as you can see from the hearings that they were forced to hold, however show trial-like they were, they don't have any evidence. So following the rules doesn't help the coup. This is like a rotting fish. They need to get it off the stage as quickly as possible. And they want you to believe it's a done deal, folks. They want you to believe that your ability to govern yourselves is over. The Democrats are impeaching the president. And they've got the votes. Don't you believe it? I suspect they may think Nancy Pelosi has done the vote counting and she may think she has enough votes, a majority plus 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, it doesn't really matter. But if it's that close, it means that you're calling your senators and your representatives can make a difference. I don't believe the full vote on impeachment will occur until at least December 21st. So that's just a few weeks from now. And that's an eternity in the coup cabal's time frame. It's much too long. I mean, they prefer to do the vote on Tuesday if they could. This is a massive abuse, a wild abuse of our constitutional system. You know, the Constitution obviously gives the House the ability to impeach the President of the United States. But if they abuse that awesome power, as Adam Schiff and Nancy Pelosi has done, it means it's illegitimate. It means it's a coup. President has no due process rights. They violated the rights of the president 6 ways to Sunday. And of course, the next coup hearing is next week, Monday. Guess what else happens on Monday? The IG report comes out on the FISA abuses targeting President Trump. And we already know, because of leaks earlier this month, or late last month, just before Thanksgiving, that there was at least one criminal referral as a result of that report. There was an FBI lawyer who was doctoring evidence in order to get the spy warrants on the Trump team. So of course they're going to have a coup hearing the same day that comes out. And who knows what else is going to come out. You can bet it's going to be confirmed what we already know, that Judicial Watch has already produced. You don't need an IG, you already have Judicial Watch, guys. The FISA warrants were fraudulent. Bruce Orr's relationship with Steele, his wife working for Fusion GPS and partnering with Steele at the same time, funneling information into the DOJ. Judicial Watch exposed that. Judicial Watch exposed the FBI was paying Christopher Steele. At the same time, the Clinton and DNC gang was paying Fusion GPS to hire him to target Trump with the Russia smears. We already know the FBI knew the Steele dossier was bunk, yet they sold it to the FISA courts as something legitimate. All because of Judicial Watch litigation, we know that. So we're going to get official confirmation of what we know and what you know as a result of supporting and following Judicial Watch already know. So what better way to distract from that confirmation of criminal activity behind the Obama and deep state spying on President Trump than to remove Trump or seek to remove Trump through this fraudulent impeachment process. The coup is more than about President Trump. It is about protecting their allies and people like Schiff, who are probably directly implicated in this whole conspiracy against Trump, from facing the consequences of their criminal activity targeting President Trump during the campaign and into his administration. So that's going to happen on Monday. So you're going to have the criminality exposed against Trump in the FISA gate and, ironically, practically speaking, constitutional criminality being pursued against him through this impeachment process. So it will be a big day on Monday. And they're going to keep on impeaching him. I don't know how the Senate trial is going to go or if it's going to go at all. I suspect what's going to happen is that it will probably be much shorter and briefer than people think will happen. It will be really quick. The president will obviously be acquitted, I think. He's not going to get removed from office. I don't see how that happens. But you never know. This is why this coup is so dangerous. There's no basis for impeachment. The Pelosi-Schiff coup is a wild abuse of power. It not only victimizes Trump, but it also harms our constitutional republic and the rights of all Americans. And you can see with the targeting of Nunes and John Solomon and Victoria Tenzing and Rudy Giuliani and the president. All of our rights are at stake. So we're going to keep on fighting because it's never going to end. It's never going to end. We want to get accountability for Schiff. We want to get accountability for the Spygate targeting of Trump. I don't believe the Justice Department will do enough. They may do some prosecutions. We'll see what happens. As you know, I'm skeptical. If I weren't skeptical, we wouldn't have Judicial Watch. If we trusted the Justice Department to do the right thing all the time, we wouldn't have Judicial Watch to do our own independent investigations. Heck, we're fighting the Justice Department right now on these documents I'm talking about. And the FBI, oh my gosh, doesn't get any more corrupt than the FBI leadership.
Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to catch all the latest news from Judicial Watch.